Taco Thursday, everybody. How's it going, everybody? It's your boy B. So Shane's not with us tonight. He is working at Ticket 760 AM in San Antonio, handling business, doing the radio producing gig. And shout out to him doing some great things. Definitely he'll be back possibly next week. So there's gonna be some weeks where it's just gonna be me or just a guest. But hey, we're gonna do what it do. So. Before we get into the show, we got to show love to our sponsor, and that is What a Clean Solutions. Need to get your carpets clean, couches, towels, and grout moving in or moving out. Need to get the place to look brand new, or call What a Clean Solutions, a family-owned mobile cleaning service that can clean anything from small carpets to even making your car or truck look brand new. Give them a call or a text at 210-790 and use promo code TNT for 5% off your total cleaning. And that's promo code TNT at 210-790-1410 for 5% off. And as well, it's on the bottom if you didn't catch that as well. And also, we got to show love to our other one, and that is SeatGeek. Licensed event, we have the tickets, concert, games, shows, and more. Use promo code all cap locks. Just put it on cap lock. Tacos Touchdown to get $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek is a ticket for everything. So what is going on, everybody? It is Taco Thursday. So did y'all get any tacos or anything like that today or anything like that? I know everybody's Taco Tuesday, but did y'all get some on Thursday though? That's the most important day. But I actually got one. I got a potato sausage and potato with side of charred beans. Man, that was good. Uh, I think it's a simple taco. So all you need is some good, if it's kielbasa sauce or any type of sauce, or if you have a good breakfast sauce and you cut it up really good and has some good seasoning or good flavor in general, you can't go wrong with it. And as well, you gotta have some good potatoes. Not I know I know cheap potatoes, but some potatoes that you cut up, have a little crisp to them. Man, that's good eating right there. But y'all comment in there, just tell me what y'all favorite taco is and anything like that. But our breakdown today, we do have a special guest, John Felipe. He'll be here at 6:20. I just sent the link, so hopefully get his perspective on his Carolina Panthers. Uh, excuse me. The weather kind of acting up a little bit. So our talking points are LVE's out for the season as well as CJ Godwin. And we actually had this talk: is Dak in MVP race? And y'all also get my opinion on that as well. The Cowboys new running game. And then we're gonna talk to John Felipe when we get to that point. That's when we'll have him on. But we'll get into the we'll get into the we'll say the we'll start with the bad. So like I just brought up, LVE and CJ Godwin out for the season. CJ Godwin is getting surgery on his pectoral, so he'll be out for the season. So we'll see who's going to step up into that special team role. That's what his role was on this team. He did it. He's been doing it for a good 3 to 4 years, and he's done a damn great job with that. And but here's the news that we kind of were figuring out probably an out for the season type of thing, but LB is out with the neck injury, and they're saying it's because they were saying it'll be for a few weeks or so, but it seems to be worse. This isn't his first time in the it hurt his neck because it's been 3 times. I actually looked it up, and at the Cowboy he had like pinched a nerve in his neck or some neck stingers and everything. And he's been having neck problems since Boise State. That was kind of like one of the biggest ifs when the Cowboys drafted. We were all worried like, oh, he has neck problems, and we just coming back from a linebacker that was really great for Sean Lee, but he dealt with injuries. And then after him, you had Jalen Smith who had the drop foot. So it's just you're running the risk when it comes to players like that. But LVE's been a good player when he's available on this team and is a leader on this team as well. But so that's so many neck injuries, and you got to look at it like this: like you have football in general is just a small little minute portion of your life, and I think he honestly should retire. Like, neck injury is not some injury that you can just shake it off. That's an injury that could affect you in the long term. I think this may it may be the last time we see LVE in Dallas Cowboy jersey. If it happens, I definitely from this fan, I definitely understand why. Like you got to look at the future of what's going on. I know he has a family and everything. And, when it comes to neck, that's a serious injury. A lot of players had to retire due to the fact of that. Some of them dealt with permanent damage and everything, where they can barely move their neck and everything. So I don't want to get deep into that, but I just want to say speedy recovery to LV and Godspeed. So next one, let me get here. Is Dak an MVP race? And I think he is. There's a lot of guys you could think of. There's, of course, you're gonna say Patrick Mahomes. I got Lamar Jackson, C.J. Stroud is probably you had to have had a rookie in there. Some people even saying Josh Dobbs from these past two games for the Vikings, and you got Dak Prescott. But if you haven't seen our mid-season awards posted, y'all should go check it out on IG. Shane went with Dak Prescott, and I went with Lamar Jackson, and I'm gonna tell you why. But I honestly think they're kind of close by as of this week because it could change. This is like one of the like in a long time where you're like there's not like a clear cut MVP guy. Okay, he's the MVP. That's fine. There's like four or five guys you could say, okay, here's a point of this guy. Why this guy? But here's my point. I Dak's been doing a great job these past four games. Uh, no, take that back. Take that back. I'm looking at it right now. He's actually last four games have been really his best weeks because now they implement him into offense where they utilize him running the ball in the short immediate routes to CD Lamb, out to a Jake Ferguson. Now you're getting involved, Brandon Cooks, what I was asking about. But here's my reason why I say Lamar Jackson over Dak is due to the fact that the teams that the Ravens have beat are looking at playoff type teams. When it comes to our Cowboys, we haven't beat the teams that we need to beat. Like we haven't we haven't beat those like we didn't beat the Eagles. We didn't beat the 49ers. Those are two teams you're like, okay, we got to handle business on these teams. And we had a surprise loss to the Arizona Cardinals because it, there's always that one game through it. We could have a really good season, but we're gonna lose to a team that we should have beat easy. But it didn't happen. But I'm gonna do the comparison on when it comes to the records of the teams that the Ravens beat. Okay, so they beat Houston. We're looking at a possible playoff team. Cincinnati, Cleveland, Tennessee. That's kind of Tennessee is they're not doing this good this year. Detroit, that's a team that a lot of power rankings are saying top five team. Seattle, and when it comes to that, when you look at I wrote down the records, all those teams that I told you that were winning that, that they beat, they're 34-30. When it comes to the teams that the Cowboys beat, we beat the New York Giants, we beat the Jets, we beat New England, we beat the Chargers, we beat the Rams, and we beat the Giants again. And their records overall are 17-40. There's a big difference between that. But you can go into stats and stuff like that as well. But when it comes to there's a different style of game they play with Baltimore, and there's a different style they play with Dallas. We're kind of slowly getting to the what the identity of the offense when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys are not this who we thought were we're gonna run the ball. We're gonna get the passing game open, and we're gonna get the run game involved. We're gonna get Rico Dowdle. We're gonna get Tony Pollard and everything. But our main bread and butter is we're gonna feed our ball to our receiver one and our tight end one, and then if we want to stretch it out, we're gonna get it to our receiver two and Brandon Cooks. And we did in this last game. Michael Gallup had his homecoming. getting in those tight windows and making those two big catches. And also we had one of the Jalen's, I call him the brother Jalen Brooks involved in a couple comeback routes, and he can kind of be that possession type of receiver as well as of now. He's been mainly on special team. Good to see we're getting other receivers involved, and also we are actually was actually in the 20-day window, and that is Peyton Hendershot. We kind of hope he gets back to what he was last year, being that receiving tight end. It was just, I think that's one of the things. I know I kind of went off topic a little bit, but my main reason why I can't have that over Lamar is just due to the fact that the teams that the Dallas Cowboys have beaten compared to the teams that the Baltimore Ravens have. And I know a lot of people say Lamar is not a. I don't think that's even a situation anymore where you say Lamar is not a quarterback. He is a quarterback. I remember seeing this. Was that Baltimore game? That's one of his best games this year. Not I said Baltimore, Detroit, where he had over 357 yards and 36 rushing yards. But it wasn't like utilizing the feet. It was more like, okay, I'm finding my open receivers with Mark Andrews, Odell, Rashad Bateman, and then open up the running game with our running back by committee type stuff. That's how Baltimore is playing. And then Lamar's utilizing his feet as well. I think this, as of now, I'm sticking with Lamar Jackson until further into the season. We'll see who figure out. There's no right now. You don't really know who's the MVP. It's kind of like you don't really know who's the defensive player of the year or the offensive player. Some people, I think, I was saying Tyreek Hill going to be having a hell of a season. I think offensive rookie year is pretty much clear cut. It's going to be C.J. Stroud until further notice. That's what I think. But I have I think it's definitely a close race as of now. When it comes to those two, you can put a C.J. Stroud, and I won't. Well, he's a rookie, but no, he's having a really good year, and he's beating some really good teams as well. But before we get into to our next, let's get into our next segment, the Cowboys' new running game. Last week we got to see. We've been we've been asking, we've been tweeting, we've been doing on Facebook and all this stuff. Can we get Rico Dowdle more involved into the running game? Last game, he finally got more involved into the running game, over 79 yards, 12 carries, one touchdown, and running over 6.6 yards per carry. You're seeing a guy that's a violent running back that knows how to break between the guard and the tackle, especially on the side of like the Tyler Smith and the Tyron Smith side. You've seen him get involved in there, being that power back type of style. And actually, they utilizing Hunter Lukey as that lead blocker. That fullback that can help him get those extra yards. We're finally getting to see that. I wouldn't, I wouldn't. So I'm not really impressed how they're using Tony Pollard's ability. They're kind of using the same plays with him, but Tony Pollard is more of that shiftier type running back. He can run outside the tower, get those extra more yards doing it that way. I don't know why they're not doing that. Just have him run out to the flats and just attack in space. I think that's how you utilize him as well. And going back to Dak, he's getting involved in the running game as well, getting a little bit. Like when he doesn't see a receiver open, his offense now he can utilize his feet, stretch out the ball a little bit more. No, Dak's not the fastest guy, but he's a power type of runner, and getting him involved is definitely key. But okay, but yeah, I think I really like how this running game is. This last week is I kind of hopefully continue to utilize this running game with Rico Dowdle. Still, you got to get Tony Pollard involved as well. And then we actually got a little bit of Deuce Vaughn in there. Uh, it's like they're using the same power plays with Deuce Vaughn, and Deuce Vaughn is not a power running back. He's out in spaces type of running back, and they actually used the play. Yeah, he got actually got one receiving yard It was out him going out in space and making a play for 11 yards. That's how you use Deuce Vaughn. That's what we were hoping they were going to use this season. We really haven't got to see that. We kind of got these plays that are like, okay, why are they doing this? Why they got him running inside? He's 5'5", 180 pounds. Like, how are we utilize what they used to do at Kansas State? Uh, but before I go on a tangent on, let me see if we got. I know our guest should be coming soon. Let me check. But yeah, that's just my opinion. People coming in, comment. We still got a little bit of time before we have our guest on and everything. But yeah, but yeah, when it comes to the running game, we got to get that involved. Also, we got our main thing is getting our receivers the ball. CD really good game, as well as Brandon Cooks. They both had over 100 yards. And you also got Michael Gallup involved, and you got Jake Ferguson involved. And everybody else got involved as well. It was a really good game. I know you can't put too much onto it. I know we were playing against a team that's probably looking at top 1 or 2 in the draft, but hey, wins a win. But when it comes to these really, it's not going to be a walk in the park when it comes to December. So you got to play against the Buffalo Bills, the Seattle Seahawks, the Miami Dolphins. Who else? Oh, we play against the Eagles again. That's where I want to see where this team, how this team handles that. We're playing against teams that are kind of looking like, oh, I think we want Drake May or maybe we want Caleb Williams or so and so at this point. I want to see what this. I want to see what we can do against teams that are looking at just going to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. That's where I want to see what our Dallas Cowboys how they're going to play. But it's 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 going to be a I think it's going to be a fun game this week. I, I think the main game I'm actually interested in is tonight. We're finally getting some good quality Thursday night football with what's it called, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's a really good game. Two AFC North teams going at it. I got the Baltimore Ravens winning that game, but it's not gonna be a blowout. I said 24-21. I think it's gonna be a close game where it goes down to a field goal. And that's the kind of game you want to hope on a Thursday night football because you really had those games where you're like, okay, I'm really paying attention to this team, to this game. I know a lot of us just scroll on social media or flipping the channel and they're like, oh, okay, this team's up, okay, let me watch something else. Or, I'd rather watch a movie type of thing. But I think this is a game where you're gonna keep your eyes set. You're gonna be 100% into watching the game type of thing. But I had to make sure I send them the link and everything. But how's everybody's Thursday going? It's going for me. It's going good. Join are y'all into this cold weather? If you're up, like I'm not a summer person. I'll be honest with you. I can't stand it. Like I'm born in December. I love the cold, but when it gets to those teams, that's a different story. I'm like, nah, can't do this. Can't do. Like let me bundle up. And let me get all the pillows and blankets I got in my house. You feel me? But let me see. We may over that link. I'm sorry, guessing. So, but yeah, that's just my takes on when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys and everything. But I will hopefully get soon. But we do have a great guest for y'all tonight. Hopefully he sees the link soon. definitely want to get his opinion on this Cowboys versus Panthers game. But trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. So I guess we can go into what to like key matchups of who I think is a good key match. I think to be in this game, and that is Deron Bland and Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is a savvy, shifty type of vet versus Deron Bland, who's having a really good season after the fact of Trayvon Diggs towards ACL in practice. He even stepped up as an outside corner, and I think you're going to see a matchup against him and Thielen. And I want to kind of go into like how many yards it has Deron Bland allowed. Last week he was all covering primary covering Paris Campbell, and he only had a negative 4 yards allowed. And before that, oh no, take that back, take that back. That was the week one. I made mistakes sometimes, but week 10 against he was mainly covering Darius Slayton. He had one reception for 4 yards. Before that, it's probably one of the second to worst games, but look at this one. It was against Devontae Smith. He only allowed three receptions for 5 targets for 44 yards and one pass breakup. And before that, he was against Tutu Outwell, who had 49 yards for four receptions and 8 targets. Deron Bland has been doing his thing. He's kind of that sneaky good, underrated player on this team. But I think he's starting to get a little bit of attention as well. And it benefits having a vet like a Stephon Gilmore. You got Lewis in the nickel as of now. But I know by next year we'll see Deron Bland at his primary position, and that is at the nickel. I think that's where he thrives. But if an injury happens, I think Deron Bland could step up on the outside corner and bring that versatility. Sure. We may we may do a part two to this, so I'm gonna make sure message our guests and everything. But we'll be back. Y'all have a good one. Peace. Oh, I'll take that back. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going, brother?
It's going pretty good. I was about to message you everything was good and everything. Make sure the link was all good.
Oh yeah, no, I was just coming back from the store. Had to make sure like the StreamYard and everything was pulled up.
It's all good, yes, sir. But I want to introduce our guest, John Felipe, host of the Carolina Cast podcast. You can check them out on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on IE Sports Radio.
That's right.
And other I pronounce your last name right? Okay.
Say it again. It cut out a little bit.
Oh, I was saying that I pronounced your last name right. John,
Felipe.
Felipe.
Yeah, yeah. See, everybody doesn't get it right. A lot of people say Felipe.
Yeah, because I actually looked it up because I wanted to make sure I got the pronunciation right because I'm a bit of a name butcher and I'm like I need it. I'm like I got to respect my guests.
Yo, I appreciate that, Aaron. You went like 3 steps further than most people do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That means a lot. So my first question for you is, how'd you get into the sports media?
Sports media. Okay. Well, initially it was just me and my brother making some YouTube videos under the Brothers Blue. You could still check out some of our old clips on YouTube, the Brothers Blue. So we would do just different like reactions to the week, reaction to the draft, things that happened, that kind of stuff. And so we just kind of kept going with that for maybe a year. And then the Roaring Riot, which is a Carolina Panthers fan organization here, took notice of us kind of making these videos. And they were like, hey, you guys should work with us. And so we worked with them for a little bit, made some connections. And then later on down the line, I met Larry B, who runs the IE Sports Radio. And so I was I was just approached, and he was like, hey man, like I saw your videos, I want to have you a part of the network, like just talk sports, talk Carolina stuff. And I was like, yeah, dog, I could do all of that. I could do football, basketball, like anything. And so he was like, cool. And so here I am with the Carolina cast.
It's crazy how connections can lead on to other opportunities.
Always, man. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So my next question is: Thanksgiving is coming up next week. So, what's going to be on the Thanksgiving plate? We're talking about your side, and then afterwards a dessert.
Oh my goodness. All right. I know what's going to be on my dessert. I'll start off with that.
Okay.
My auntie literally just perfected the most delicious banana pudding that I have ever like graced my tongue with. Like it's literally like it's a banana pudding, but it's like cut into like perfect squares, and the texture and the taste and everything is just like it's culinary dining with her. So that's my dessert. Um, I'm thinking for my sides, I guess I'll build up to the auntie. For my sides, I'm gonna have to go with my other auntie's mac and cheese with broccoli. She makes
Okay.
a mean mac and cheese, yeah, with the crust on top of it, but then the broccoli bits inside. No, it's delicious. That
I never
and
heard of that.
then what'd you say?
I never heard of with the broccoli on the sides.
Yeah, see, that's all I knew because my aunt made it like that. um, and then for my other side, I'm gonna get it's my aunts are stealing the show, but my other aunt, like outside of the other two aunts, makes some mean deviled eggs.
Okay.
Like the way she makes them, like I didn't like deviled eggs before she made them, and so yeah, that and then my mom's turkey has to be the main entree.
Okay. So what does she put on the deviled eggs? Is it like a certain like a seasoning or a type of topping?
Honestly, I'm not familiar with how the sausage is made. Like, I just see it at the end with like the perfect shape, and there's like a little like paprika on top, like a cinnamon looking thing, but it's not cinnamon.
Uh, that sounds good. So
Yeah.
my next my next question, going into Carolina's Panthers. So who's on your Mount Rushmore of Carolina Panthers greats?
Ooh, taking it all the way back. Okay. Well, I have to put into perspective, my formative years were like the early 2010s for the
Oh,
Panthers.
okay, okay.
So it has to be Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, um, and then so like those two are like up there, and I actually watched them play and I saw their greatness, so I can like like they have a special place in my heart. Uh, and then for my older guys, another guy that came back actually in like 2017, it just lasted forever in the league is Julius Peppers.
That's my favorite.
That's has to be up there. And then last, so I have Cam, Luke, Julius, and then hmm, I mean, like it's got to be Smitty, right? It's got to be Steve Smith.
I was waiting for that. Like, I don't want your Panther fans to be going after you because you know,
No, exactly. Yeah, there's no way I could leave him off the Mount Rushmore.
oh yeah, because that's like when you think of Carolina Panthers, that's one guy you first think about is Steve Smith. He argued,
Yeah.
especially I was a big fan of Luke Kuechly. He was like one of the smartest guys out on the field. Like he knew your plays, he knew his own plays, and he would tell everybody on the side of the field.
It's not even fair. It's not even fair. I remember our Thanksgiving game. Speaking about Thanksgiving and Cowboys, that's hilarious. Yeah, that 2015 game, one of the most iconic moments in Panthers history.
Yeah, had a number that day. I was like,
Yeah, that was the year that we went to the Super Bowl.
it sure was. And I was rooting for y'all for that Super Bowl because I was a big fan of
Don't even, I appreciate it. Yeah, it hurts me that we lost. I genuinely think it hurts me because like that team is kind of lost to history. Like we would be talking about it way more if they won.
Yeah, because I feel like you really don't talk about the team that lost, but when it comes to the Carolina Panthers, a lot of people talk more about, man, the Carolina Panthers should have won that Super Bowl because
Yeah, it's
that was,
true. And it's like the amount of people that they had, that was like Luke, Cam, Greg Olson. We were 15-1. Like we were fun. We were flashy. Cam did the dab. Like we were the story that year, you know?
Who was y'all receivers on that time? Uh,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That I know you didn't mean that to be a joke, but like
oh,
Cam pulled those people up. It was literally Ted Ginn Jr., who we resurrected. Like,
yeah.
and then the next receiving option was Greg Olson, like the tight end. It was like the Pat Mahomes Chiefs. Like you don't really know their receivers, but Greg Olson, the tight end.
Yeah, I was like, I was like, I know Steve Smith wasn't on that team, and I was trying to think who was it. Kelvin
No,
Benjamin,
Smitty's last time was in 2013, and then he went to the Ravens.
a good team. So my next question, kind of going to the game a little bit. Per Adam Schefter said, head coach Frank Wright is going to be taking over the play calling over off OC Thomas Brown. I want to get what's your opinion on that?
Wow, man! Like, why don't you take a seat?
All right.
Literally, it's insane because this has been the story for the entirety of the season with the Carolina Panthers. Like, our offense, like, obviously, new head coach, general manager, first time without Matt Rule, like, new coaching staff, all these top tier guys. And we were promised, it feels like a false bill of goods. Like if you look at our social media from June and July, like it was a lot of uplifting. Look at the process that Frank Reich, the rigorous process he went through to get these coaches, and like the process that we went through to pick Bryce Young. There's no way we can get this wrong. Like this is like everything is perfect. And Scott Fitterer saying quotes like, "Oh hey, like we are just one quarterback away. We just needed to build the team first, and then we could just plop in the quarterback." Like these exact quotes, like from this offseason. So for it to go to that, to starting off the season the way that it did, was disheartening. Doesn't really like it was a gut punch. And then throughout the year, like after humans adapt, they survive. It was a gut punch initially, but once we saw what we were working with, we kind of like started to like temper our expectations. And so we weren't like as crushed when we would lose. But one of the big things was the offensive play calling throughout the season. So it was like us as fans were baffled. We were scratching our heads. Why are we going through such simplistic plays? Why aren't we doing these motions like the 49ers are, like the Eagles are, like the Dolphins are? Like, why aren't we like doing more to sugarcoat our offense? Why aren't we like putting Bryce in a position to succeed? And the two answers at that time were our offensive line was a little hurt because we didn't have Austin Corbett, Super Bowl champion with the Rams. Last year, he was amazing. And our other offensive lineman didn't perform, Ike Ekwonu. Like, we thought he was going to take a step forward, and he's been hit or miss. He's not all bad. But that is one, the offensive line. And then two is the lack of separation from our receivers, especially guys that we brought in to be speedsters. Like, we brought in DJ Chark, who is known for his time in the Jaguars as being a speedster. Obviously, last year he dealt with injuries. Really, every season he's dealt with injuries. But when he's healthy, he's fast. And then again, Jonathan Mingo, our first draft pick after Bryce Young, pick 39, and he came from Ole Miss. A lot of people thought he was going to be like an AJ Brown type. He's sturdy, bounces off guys, and he has his moments, but he is not getting separation. And it's not because of his lack of speed. He doesn't have that much speed, but it's because of his lack of feel for the game. He's still a rookie. He's still kind of developing how to make people miss, how to change direction. And so it turns out the best guy that we have is a 33-year-old Adam Thielen. And I'm like, yo, what is this? Like, we were really waiting for these receivers to pop off. I was excited for Terrace Marshall Jr., another draft pick from a couple of years ago, who actually requested a trade this year. And then DJ Chark, Jonathan Mingo, and Adam Thielen. And the thing is, us Panther fans, and this was a direct quote from our owner, David Tepper, we were less concerned. Obviously, there was not a Panther fan that didn't love DJ Moore. Everybody loved DJ Moore. But we were less concerned because the general manager and the owner put out these things on social media talking about, like, honestly, the fact that we have Bryce Young, we're so lucky. And it makes it so we don't need an elite receiver because he's such a distributor. He's such a point guard, And I agree with that in theory and in process, but in execution, it's just not been very good.
There's a lot of, like you were saying, there's a lot of young guys on the team. So
Yeah.
they basically learning with Bryce at this point
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
niggas don't
Even on
learn
left guard now, Chandler Zavala is coming in, first year rookie coming in to start at left guard.
I was a fan of his game at North Carolina State, but like you're saying,
Yeah, he played with Icky too.
yeah. So you got two North Carolina State guys. So
Yeah.
y'all don't have to even look too far, like in the neighborhood, to go to North Carolina State to see who they
Yeah.
were. So my
Yeah.
next,
No, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, you're good. So I know I probably got to take another seat. Is I want to hear on Bryce Young, the good and the ugly of your honest thoughts on him.
Okay. Yeah. No, I touched on him a little bit, and honestly, I am a huge fan of Bryce Young. Like from the beginning. Like I was a fan of his like during the draft process. Like I was going to be, ironically enough, now that we see what CJ Stroud is becoming, I was going to be hurt if we took CJ Stroud over Bryce Young, number one. Like at the time. Like I would have just been crushed. I would have thought like we're making the wrong decision because in my mind, Bryce Young, for a couple of different reasons, is the guy. He's won everywhere he's been. So he went to Mater Dei High School, one of the most prestigious high schools in not only California but in the nation, and completely dominated. Maybe lost one or two games, and one was a heartbreaking championship against John Bosco and DJ, if I butcher his name, Ulele. But yeah, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then he dominated at Alabama and won the Heisman and lifted people up his second year. Like that Alabama team was not great his second year. Like he had lost his guys like Jameson Williams, and obviously now he's doing his own thing in the Lions. But at the time, these are top tier receivers. The only guy he had was Jahmyr Gibbs, but that's the running back position, so it's a little bit different. It's not as beneficial for the quarterback, especially if you're not getting much help in the receiving core and your offensive line isn't great. So every step of the way, like he's just been successful. He's been able to work inside structure, outside of structure, in, out the pocket. He's only 200 pounds on a good day, but the fact that he's strong per pound. Like every one of his 200 pounds count. When you see him get like swiped by a defensive lineman, a defensive end, he has such great balance and strength to move in a way to like kind of escape. And we've seen that a lot, even this year with the Panthers. You know who he reminds me of? Another person that's going to be a depressing conversation, Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, like having the best season like so far and one of the best running backs in the league. But it had to be done. I mean, I'm glad. I'm happy for him. I want to see him win a Super Bowl with the 49ers. But comparing him to Bryce, they both are more slim comparatively in structure than other people in their position, but they just have such great balance and like per pound are so strong. And so all of these things are a reason why I'm a fan of Bryce Young still. I don't think Bryce Young is the problem.
I think in about next year you'll see a different type of Panthers team because y'all do got the potential and
I'm
everything.
certain. I'm certain of it.
Absolutely. So I know you already kind of speak on Adam Thielen. Was there another guy that y'all picked up in free agency that you are that has been surprisingly good?
Surprisingly good. Well, I can't answer that question without giving an honorable mention to somebody we picked up in free agency a couple years ago that has been like now one of the biggest players on our team, one of the biggest leaders, one of the most successful is Frankie Louvu that we picked up from the Jets. We literally got him. He was an undrafted free agent, and they didn't tenure him like in his like when they were doing restricted free agency. They didn't tenure him, and so we got him for free essentially. And he's become one of the most impactful players on either side of the ball. But I guess that's kind of a bad answer because we got him a couple of years ago. I'll go with this year, a surprising free agency ad. It's frustrating because all I can think of is disappointment. Hayden Hurst, Miles Sanders, DJ Chark. I mean, I said Adam Thielen already, but really, he may be the only free agent acquisition that wasn't a disappointment.
I was thinking, you actually answered one of my questions with Frankie.
Frankie Louvu. Oh, you were. That's so funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about him because I've been hearing a lot of great things about him with the fans.
Oh, so you knew? I was going to ask if you knew who he was. So that's awesome that you do. Yeah. I guess I'll go into more detail about him. He is Polynesian, I believe Samoan, and so like he has a lot of family from the islands and whatnot, and he gets the entire locker room like so hyped up with that oos dance that they do. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, the chaka, I think it's called.
Yeah, the chaka.
Yeah, the chaka. Man, he gets the entire team like juiced up with that. And so, I mean, his leadership quality is just undeniable. The fact that he's been able to play multiple positions, very good. And funnily enough, his first year, he was brought in to be like kind of special teams. And so we brought him in, did some special teams. He got some tackles, but then he was just starting to get sacks. And we were not expecting him coming in as an inside linebacker, kind of a gadget guy, you know, that can move around different places. But to start being able to pressure the quarterback so consistently, get interceptions, like work in coverage, it was completely unexpected that he was going to turn into the player that he's become.
It's kind of been like that underrated star on y'all's team that a lot of
Yeah.
people I know.
No, I couldn't. Nobody saw it coming. Like that, it's like he was an undrafted free agent too. So it's a perfect example of UDFA kind of coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, and like you said, you basically got him for free. So I know eventually y'all going to get that good contract, and he's going to get paid, and he's going to continue to be a great linebacker for y'all.
Yeah.
But before we get into our last question, but my main thing is, what is like a key matchup are you looking for in this game?
Key matchup. All right. So I think first off, I have to say the key matchup overarchingly is Panther fans versus their attention, because we're really at a crossroads right here, and we don't expect to win. This is a very strong Cowboys team coming off a dominating defeat against the Giants, a team that's I can't even say is much worse than we are. So this is a good Cowboys team, but we have to think about like the Locked On Panthers podcast host. I think his name is Julian Council. He just said it perfectly. He's saying we're in the farmers market season at this moment. Right now, it's better for your health, for your relaxation to just take the Sunday off. Be with the family at a farmer's market. I'll come back and I'll tell you how the Panthers did. And if they win, good on you. Look at that. Pleasant surprise. But if they lose, you weren't expecting anything other. So we're in that mode as Panther fans. It's quite sad, actually, considering we don't have a first round pick. But that's the biggest thing that needs to happen right now. The biggest thing that needs to happen is the Carolina Panthers, and I'll get to the more literal answer based off of the Cowboys, but the Carolina Panthers have to play winning football. We don't have to win, but we have to play winning football. We have to look productive. We have to get off the field on third down on defense and stay on the field on third down on offense. We have to do big boy things because if we don't, that march on Mint Street, I don't know if you heard about it on Twitter, it might actually happen. Like, we might actually be marching down to David Tepper's office. Uh, but I suppose if I want to get to the literal, the key matchup for the Panthers versus the Cowboys, the key matchup to me is stopping the skill position players on the Cowboys from making big plays, stopping Tony Pollard, stopping CeeDee Lamb from blowing it up. Because if the Cowboys get ahead by a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, Michael Parsons just going to put his ears behind his back, and it's not going to be, we need to establish a run before it gets out of hand. So I think if we can prevent these big splash plays from happening, I think we'll have at least a shot.
That's one of the main things. Once the CeeDee Lamb gets on the streak, or Jake Ferguson is kind of like one of the things you can't really stop.
Yeah, and it hurts me because it hurts me as a Panthers fan because if we start like going down 1-2 touchdowns, I'm gonna be a Cowboys fan because I have Jake Ferguson, Tony Pollard, and CeeDee Lamb in my fantasy leagues.
Hey, we'll keep putting jersey if you want to. So before I let you go, I definitely appreciate you for being on the show for sure. Uh, we got Thursday night football. We actually got a good, decent Thursday night football game.
Finally.
I don't know one of the last ones. Who do you got, the Bengals or the Ravens?
See, it's funny. We have a little pool going on with IE Sports Radio, and so we kind of say our picks, and with every week we kind of like keep track of who it is, like who's on top with their picks. I was first place last week, just saying. And so sometimes I do that by going with my gut feeling. And to do that, I'm gonna go with the Bengals. I know the Ravens are the hot team, but I think the Bengals have that tenacity in them, and if their offense can get clicking, they're hard to stop too.
I went with the Ravens. Like you were saying, they're one of the hot teams, and
Yeah.
like Lamar Jackson. They're utilizing Lamar in this offense more than last year, and defense is just really has been really good as well. But I think it's gonna be.
That's what I call a smart answer. I'll take a chance.
I'll take that. I'll take that as God. So I think it's definitely gonna be a close game, 24-21. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout game. They're two rival teams.
Oh, no way. Yeah, of course.
I'd be disappointed if it's a blowout game. I'll
I
probably go.
wouldn't even know who blew out who. I mean, I would guess the Ravens maybe, but that would be crazy.
Yeah, I don't think that happened. Like I'll go to a farmer's market, but there's not gonna be a farmer's market at night.
Yeah, right. Not this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, John, for being on the show. You've been a great guest. Before I let you go, where can they check you out at again? Where you have a show tomorrow as well, right?
I do. Yeah. So you guys can check me out on the Carolina Cast, which is a part of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. It's our slogan. So yeah, you could check me out if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, football, basketball, anything in the Carolinas. Check me out on Spreaker. I leave a link on my Twitter page, and in fact, I'll leave it here at IE_ Carolina Cast. And you can get an update of everything I'm doing and follow IE Sports Radio too, because we're all a part of this thing.
Make sure to give them a follow on Sports as well. And definitely go check out it on Spreaker and on the IE Sports Radio .com.
Yeah, IESportsRadio.com.
Yeah, definitely go check them out. This has been Tacos and Touchdowns. Y'all have a good one.